Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, Fab Fam. Welcome in to the Fab Fam house this fine Saturday afternoon. Welcome into the Italian Country Girls kitchen today as we cook on some Easter side dishes, ideas for your dinner dishes for your Easter dinner. Hello, little hypers. Long time no see. I hope you guys are doing good. I imagine this is Amora. I hope you're doing wonderful, Amora, and you're getting ready for Easter to spend with your family. I hope you guys are ready to come along with me today as we get to cooking. This was a suggestion in the Discord cooking channel in our Discord. BC41789 requested that we make Easter side dishes. So today I'm going to give you some ideas of some things that would be a good idea to make for Easter side dishes. If you're making a ham or turkey or whatever you're making for your main meat dish, these may be some things that you may like to add to your side dishes. So, these are some things prominent to the South, some things you may have never heard of. Um, if you have any questions along the way, please ask. I am so glad to have each and every one of you today. Hello, Alice. Happy Easter weekend, Alice. I hope you are going to spend your wonderful Easter weekend with your parents and enjoy your weekend. I'm glad to have you in here today. So, we are going to get working on some of our side dishes here. The first thing we're going to tackle today is hash brown casserole. This is a very common side dish. If you have a Cracker Barrel, I know you have gotten a hash brown casserole probably at your Cracker Barrel, your local Cracker Barrel. This is just something that a lot of people like is hash brown casserole. And so we do have this at usually Easter, Thanksgiving, Christmas. We kind of add it to our side dish as a side dish. So today I'm going to show you how I make my hash brown casserole. First off, if you go to your freezer aisle where you would find your French fries, tater tots, and stuff like that at your local grocery store, you will more than likely find a bag of shredded hash browns, or better known as country style hash browns. Purchase one bag of that for this. That's what's in here, and this is a single serve, one batch of it. If you are going to have a lot of people, like we used to have at Thanksgiving, my mom or my grandma would double this recipe. So they would purchase two bags. You kind of get my drift, two sour creams, two cans of cream of chicken, and increase the amount you cook. Today, I'm just going to make one batch. You will buy one bag of hash browns shredded. I prefer shredded. You can get diced. You're more than welcome to do this diced. But my household likes shredded hash browns. So purchase one bag of shredded hash browns and go on when you're ready to make this. Say you're going to make this and some other side dishes. Go on and get your bag of hash browns out of the freezer. Cut them open, put them in your bowl, and let them sit at room temperature while you're working on another side dish. So that way they kind of are pliable and thawed out, and they're not frozen and stiff. It's harder to stir. It's harder to mix. It's harder to combine the ingredients. So you don't want to do that. So go on and let these thaw out. And which mine have. I did it before string started. So I have my bag of hash browns, and then you just get, yeah, it's this one's 10.5 ounces, just one can of cream of chicken soup. You can get any brand you prefer. This is just simply Truth Organic, and you're going to get one can of cream of a chicken soup. I'm going to open this and dump this on top of the hash browns here. Uh, the uh, the taste is different with organic. It's more fresh tasting. Um, but once again, it does not matter what brand you get. It's your preference. I'm not here selling you brands. Okay. Then you get a container of sour cream. It is the 1 pound container, which is 16 ounces. Again, I'm not here selling you the brand. I prefer Daisy's sour cream. I think in cooking it just tastes better. It doesn't taste refined or anything. It's natural sour cream. I can tell a difference when I cook with it. So this is the sour cream I'll be using. So I'm going to open this up. And I'm going to use the same spatula I got my cream of chicken out with, and I'm going to dump the whole container in here, okay? You want the whole container. It usually just slides right out for you. Now I'm going to get my big spatula here, okay? And I'm just going to try to incorporate the cream of chicken and sour cream with this a little bit, okay? I personally am not a sour cream eater because I've had some people ask me that's never had hash brown casserole say something along the lines of, I hate sour cream. It disgusts me. Will I like this? Can I taste it? Okay, guys, I hate sour cream more than anything in this world besides Brussels sprouts. And I want you to know I love hash brown casserole. The sour cream incorporated with the cream of chicken and the other stuff we put in here, it literally gives it the base and the creaminess. It does not taste like sour cream whatsoever. So I don't feel like that'll be a problem for you because it is not for me. So if that is a concern, I would not worry about it. So I kind of have this incorporated and it starts getting kind of mushy looking, okay? So now what I'm going to do is over here, before stream, I took my shredder and I shredded up some Colby Jack cheese. So I'm just going to take a handful and I'm going to put a handful of Colby Jack in here. And then I'm going to do a second handful of Colby Jack. And that is going to go into my mixture here. And I'm going to stir in this cheese. Don't be afraid. It's a preference thing again. Uh, I just start with 2 handfuls of cheese. That's the way my grandma taught me. Uh, you can add more cheese if you like. If you look at this and you feel like it needs a little more cheese, you're more than welcome to. Add as much cheese as you want. As my grandma would say, you can never have too much cheese. So I'm going to add just a little bit more here. Just sprinkle some in. Then I'm going to take a stick of butter, okay? And I'm going to cut this butter in half. And I am going to put half a stick of butter in this. I'm going to chop it up in little pieces. And I'm just going to stir it in with this, okay? Uh, it is not going to mush it up or anything of that sort. You do not have to get this room temperature. I just literally got this out of the fridge before I started stream. I'm just going to cut this up in pieces and put it in here because it's just going to melt while it cooks. So just going to put pats of little butter in here. All right, there's half a stick of butter. Cut it up right there. I cut it up right there. Okay, and now I'm just going to stir this in. And I have my oven on 400 degrees, or you can do 425 depending on how strong your oven is. All right, and then I'm going to take some pepper, and I'm just going to sprinkle some pepper on here. And then I'm going to put a little bit of salt. I'm going to get my salt right here. I just have like a little salt container. I'm just going to reach down to it and I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit of salt. I don't like a lot of salt. Okay, now I'm going to throw away my sour cream container here. Now I'm going to get my casserole dish here that I have already pre-set out. It's like an 11 by 17 or something like that. I had it wrote on the bottom of these because it doesn't say, it keeps washing off, but I'm just going to dump this into my casserole dish, okay? You do not have to spray it or anything like that. Now I'm just going to spread this out. Okay. Now I have this spread out. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stick this in the oven. You're going to cook this probably about 45 minutes to an hour. You'll be able to tell when it starts looking like it's setting up or browning, drying up some, that kind of thing. And before we finish it, what we will come back and do is I have a box of cornflakes over here. Right before this is done, we will sprinkle some cheese on the top. And we will crumble up some cornflakes and put on the top and put our other half a stick of butter on it. Put it back in and brown it up a little bit, and that gives it a nice crust on the top. But for right now, I'm going to turn around and I'm going to stick this in our oven that's already preheated to 425 degrees. And I'm just going to go on and set a timer just so I can keep up with how long it's been in here. A lot of the sides I am making today are time consuming sides, so I don't know that everything will finish during the cooking stream, but I'm just trying to get the premise of showing you how to actually do it. Uh, because some of this stuff cooks for 45 minutes to an hour longer, and I don't have enough oven space to put everything in at the same time. So we're going to do our best here. Okay, so that's how we did our hash brown casserole. And now we have that in the oven. Now I'm going to move on to something else here that we do in the South, okay? It is called cinnamon apples. In the South, this is not a dessert. I've had people ask me this. This is actually a side dish. If you go to mom and pop, like meat and three restaurant around here where you pick your meat and three sides, you will see cinnamon apples on the list a lot of times. If any of you have a Cracker Barrel, you will see if you get the vegetable plate or you do the country dinner plate, I believe it is. Cinnamon apples is actually a choice on there for you to pick as a side dish. So I'm going to show you how I make my cinnamon apples. And this is a favorite in this house. We like it. It is a favorite in the family. And I often made this, or my family made this whenever I was growing up. So anyways, this is what we're going to do now. And this is the dish I'm going to use for it. And you're going to just peel your apples and we're going to put them in here. I got one bag of Gala apples. I really like to use Gala apples for my cinnamon apples. Each apple, if you know anything about apples, apples have a different taste. There's Granny Smiths, which are tardy. There's just different kind of apples, and some are sweet, some are not. A Gala apple is a little tart mixed with a little sweet, so it's perfect for cinnamon apples. Not too sweet, not too tardy. And every time I make these, I just kind of see what it looks like after I cut one bag up of apples because they vary in size each time. So I got two bags of Gala apples, but I'm going to start with one bag. So what I'm going to do is I have my apples and I'm just going to start cutting up my apples and peeling them. You peel your apples. So I'm going to start doing this. And here, let me get a bowl. Hold on just a minute. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the apples up into this bowl first, and then I'm going to go rinse them off before I put them in my casserole dish, okay? And you literally just peel them and take out the core. Obviously, you do not want that left behind. So this is what it looks like when it's peeled. And you just cut it into little pieces like this, okay? Just little pieces like that. I'm going to drop it in the bowl. I hate peeling apples and potatoes, but they're just time consuming. I'm dropping apple core everywhere. But see, when you cut your apple in half, it just has this in it. You want to cut that out. So I'm just going to cut it in half like this. Um, and then I just come straight down and I take off the piece and it slides off, okay? So I'm just getting the core off. And then I take the piece and I just peel off the peeling, okay? And now it's peeled and I just, kind of cut it into little pieces, okay? And I'm just going to do that with all the apples. I love apples. This is a really good side dish too. Like I said, in the South, it's really huge. We have a vacation spot here in Tennessee called the Great Smoky Mountains. A lot of people vacation there from around the world, actually, all the time, daily. And apples are a big thing up in the mountains. You will find cinnamon apples on the side list in the Smoky Mountains at various restaurants. It is very huge. They even have a restaurant called the Apple Barn. It is nestled in some beautiful trees, and they grow their apples there, and they make apple pies, apple fritters. They make cinnamon apples on their menu. And it's like a meat and three kind of restaurant. They have a gift shop and they sell various apple flavored items. It's a really pretty place. You will find cinnamon apples on their uh, menu there. I think it's funny because obviously we've been there before. Uh, you get a lot of food for your money. You never can eat it all. It is definitely one of those places you either share or get a to-go box to take it back to your hotel room. Um, but it's so funny to watch people. We have met people various times when we've traveled there at Dollywood or if somewhere else that are from different states or even different countries. I've met someone from England before up there, someone from Canada that traveled there, and they find it funny. They are so intrigued by the cinnamon apples. They're like, oh, I'm gonna have to figure out how to make these so I can try to make them when I get home. And I think it's funny because it's just not something that is on a menu in a lot of places. So they find it really cool. Apples cut, by the way, and peeled and setting in the air will start to get a little brown hue to them. It is okay. It is the air hitting the apple itself. I have runaway apples this morning. Now, cinnamon apples, they do take a while to cook. So I put them on usually first when I'm making my Easter dinner or Thanksgiving, whatever I'm making this for. They do take a while to cook because you literally have to cook these apples down till they're mush, okay? Pretty much. These are going to be so, so soft and they're going to shrink up. So that's why it is not something a lot of people make as side dishes at home because it can get costly if apples are up, the cost of apples. Because One bag of apple is not enough for my family because they shrink up so much. It's about enough for two people. Um, so I usually do 2 bags of apples, um, which is how many pounds is in this? 32 ounces, 2 pounds in one bag. So I do 4 pounds of apples. It is just really weird how time consuming this is, but people love this. I have a friend and she used to ask me to make this every time she was coming for a holiday. This became her favorite dish. She even volunteered when apples were costly at the time. She even volunteered to buy me the apples if I would make them. And I'm just cutting them up and putting them in this bowl because I'm going to go rinse them at the sink when I'm done. And then I'm going to show you guys what we're going to do with these. And of course, if you don't cut them in bigger chunks and you cut them about that size, they're just going to cook faster, okay, guys? They're just going to cook faster. Hey, Forrest, happy Easter. Happy Easter weekend, hon. I hope you're having a good weekend. I don't know if you're going home for Easter to see your family, but if you are, I'm so happy for you. Or if you're having to stay at school. We are cutting up apples for us, and we're making cinnamon apples, which is a side dish in the South. Or if you have a Cracker Barrel, you might find them there on the menu. Oh, that's awesome. So, about how far does it take you to drive home from Alabama? Because I know that you just come, what, straight across? Is that like 5, 6 hours? From here, it's 4 hours to Atlanta for us. Oh, Forrest, you know what they are. Most people don't even know what they are. I was telling people if they have a Cracker Barrel, it's usually an item. If you get the country vegetable plate or uh, just the country dinner plate, it is an option for a side dish. Oh, that's it? Okay, okay. Way closer than I thought. 2.5 hours is not bad at all. That's awesome. For some reason, I thought it would be longer than that. So, how long have you been at college in Alabama, Forrest? We have some friends that live in Alabama. We used to shoot competition field target, Jeffro and I. And we have some friends that work for NASA that we met in the field target world. Sophomore. Okay, okay. Cool, cool, cool. Some of these apples have dark spots, and I do cut those out, by the way. I don't leave them in. We will cut those out. Our hash brown casserole already has 30 minutes left. Only 30 minutes. That's awesome. Okay. So we're coming along on our apple cutting here. And as you can see, I only have that amount of apples and only have 2 apples left out of the bag. So now you see why I get 2 bags of apples. Ooh, that apple is bad. Throwing that apple away. I do not want a brown apple in here. I know when I make these, I usually get cilantro or someone helps me peel these so it goes faster. So if you're making something for the holidays and you want to make these, definitely get someone to help you peel the apples. I just think it takes a while. I'm gonna have apple everywhere on my kitchen floor. I've shot apple everywhere. It's gonna be sticking to my shoes in a moment. Okay, that is 1 bag of apples. So 1 bag of apples makes about that many apples in a bowl. Yeah, Forrest, I used to want to go to the space camp too, so don't feel bad. I remember growing up, asking my parents if I could go to space camp. So don't feel bad. I've actually never gone to that space center either, the one in Alabama. I've drove past it a bunch when we're traveling, but never stopped and actually visited. I know my parents went there when I was little, and they did the tour and all that. I've been to the one in Cape Canaveral, Florida, though. That one's really cool. That's where they launched the rockets from. And you can see it if you're on the beach. I've been there, and they do a launch of something. You can see it from the beach. It's really cool. I think it's cool how they set Cape Canaveral up. It's like everything is out toward the water. It's really awesome if you've never seen it before. We had some friends that owned a condo, and they could see, they lived in Cape Canaveral, and they could see everything from their house. It was really cool. Sorry, guys, I know this is kind of boring, but I have to get these apples peeled so we can move on. All right, boring. Apple peeling is boring. So I don't know if any of y'all have Easter plans this weekend. If you do, hope it's with family and you guys enjoy it. I know I've talked to a lot of people that are still being safe because of the COVID and the family gatherings, and they have elderly or people with health conditions. So I know some people are staying home again. Almost done here, y'all. I know some people have little kids and you're going to do Easter egg hunts and Easter bunny stuff. That's cool. I always like the Easter bunny coming to see me. As long as he brings me Reese peanut butter eggs. Okay, Alice, enjoy your grandma. Are you going right now or are you guys going tomorrow? Later today? Okay, that's awesome. So do y'all just do like a traditional meal at your grandma's or do y'all do an egg hunt or anything cool? We used to go to my grandma's when I was growing up and we'd have an Easter egg hunt and she'd hide eggs all over the yard. It was so much fun. Me and my sister would go hunt the eggs, see who could get the most. And then there was a gold egg and a silver egg. And it was because she wanted to be fair because it was the two of us. And the gold egg had $5 in it and so did the silver egg. So it didn't matter which one you got. You still got money, but we weren't allowed to have both. If we found them both, we had to put it back if we'd already found one and not tell them where it was. It was funny. All right. You just have a meal together? Okay, Alice. That's still fun. I don't know why I always liked Easter egg hunting so much, but I loved it. That was just so much fun. And then when we got older, I remember my mom used to start doing them when my grandma got kind of in bad health. And she bought the plastic eggs and would reuse them every year. We had to give the eggs back. The kids did. I was already older and didn't egg hunt, but uh, like the grandkids and stuff, they had to give the eggs back. Because my mom would stuff them with stuff. She would sit there and stuff them with pieces of candy, like little wrapped mini candy bars, stuff like that. So when you found the eggs, once everybody was done, you got a little sack and you can dump all your candy in it. It was all wrapped candy. And then you had to put the eggs back together and give them back to her to use for the next year. It was fun. Okay, 2 apples left. Oh my gosh, you're serious, Forrest? That sounds like fun. That sounds really cool. That sounds like a lot of fun. I think they should have adult egg hunts. All right, last apple. They put gift cards and stuff in the eggs? No way. That's so cool. Did you get any with gift cards? Did you go to it first? My mom used to put quarters in some of the eggs for the kids to find. It was fun. Free donuts and a free milkshake. Let's go. Dunkin' Donuts or Krispy Kreme donuts? Okay. Now, I'm going to lay my headphone down and go rinse these apples out. It's a local place called Hero Donuts. Ooh, I love local donut shops. Okay, so if you don't want your apples to turn a little bit of brown, if you have a bunch to cook or cut, while you're doing this, you can cut them into a bowl of water and put a little bit of lemon juice in them, okay? Yo, berry friend, how's it going? Now we got our apples back in our dish, okay? Now what we're going to do is we're going to take our cinnamon and you sprinkle the cinnamon all over these apples, okay? And then we're going to take some pure cane sugar is what I use. And I just dip a cup out and I start sprinkling the sugar over the apples. Okay, didn't use the whole cup. Then I'm going to take some water out of my purifier here and I'm going to start covering these in some water. Now they are going to make some water because there's juices in apples as these cook down. So I'm going to stop with about that much space left, as you can see, that has no water, okay? Good. I'm glad you feel rested, Barry. Now you'll be rested for some more rank today, later on. I hope your pops is coming today, working on your desk. Okay, I'm going to sprinkle a little bit more cinnamon. Hiccups again. And then whatever's left with the sugar. There we go. Now, I'm going to stick these in the oven, and these are going to cook for a while. It's usually over an hour. They have to cook down because they're going to turn into mush, okay? So let me turn around and put these in the oven. Okay, now I have those in the oven. Now, another dish that you'll find that we make for a side dish for Easter, Thanksgiving, or Christmas is homemade mac and cheese. Macaroni and cheese is good. I don't like boxed kind, so I make my own. Oh, are you going to tear your PC and stuff down today when y'all build the desk? Okay, so I already pre-boiled the noodles, y'all, so we wouldn't have to wait on them. So let me bring that over here. So I have my mac noodles. They're kind of starting to stick together because they're cooling off. What I'm probably going to do, because they are cooling off here, let me do this. I don't want to stir in that bowl. We're going to make a sloppy mess. Let's do this. Let me get a big Tupperware bowl here. And let me dump these in here so we can mix in our sauce and then we'll put it back in our dish. Because they're sticking together in there. So I didn't use elbow mac noodles. I used some Italian ones. And when they cook, they're just spirally like this, okay? They're just big and spirally. So, now, let's come over here to our stove. And we are going to start making the cheese sauce for our mac and cheese. In this little stock pot here, I'm going to turn this on. Okay. And I'm going to put some milk in it and start getting the milk warm. I do not measure out stuff for mac and cheese. I'm sorry. I would guess that might be 4 cups of milk, approximately. Now I have some heavy whipping cream here. I'm going to open it up. can get this top off. Okay. Okay, so I got some heavy whipping cream. I'm going to put some heavy cream in this. Maybe like a cup if I had to guess. Okay. And I'm going to get that to start heating up. Uh, I love the smell of the cinnamon in the oven. I already smell it. And the hash brown casserole, because when I smell it, it makes me think of Thanksgiving or Christmas growing up. It's one of those smells that triggers a memory. Triggers a memory of when people you love were still here and the good times you had. It's a good thing. Okay, I'm going to put a little bit of pepper in here. Okay. Ooh, I got that all over the stove. Good job. Good job, GM. Now you're going to sneeze. Then, this right here is Table Blend Mrs. Dash. To me, it is the most underused spice that you can use. This stuff is really good. Oh, shoot. That's why my pepper won't close. Okay, so I'm trying to get this heated up, and we're going to start adding our cheese to it. We have in our pepper, Mrs. Dash, our milk and heavy whipping cream, and I'm going to put a little bit of salt in here, just a little bit, not much. Sprinkle a little bit in there. Now you may see you need to add some milk or heavy cream as you go along. That's fine. Now, the thing is cheese. What kind of cheese do I use? You can get all kinds of different cheeses. Um, so you might want to change it up. I do. Havarti cheese is really a creamy, good cheese to use in mac and cheese. Uh, American cheese, provolone, Swiss. Um, some people put Gouda. I don't like Gouda, but some people put Gouda. Just different creamy cheeses are really good for mac and cheese. Do not try to use cheddar cheese though. Cheddar cheese is not a good melting cheese, and you will find that it clumps up, okay? So today I'm going to be using American cheese and provolone, okay? So that is what I'm going to use for my cheese sauce today. Let me get some of this pepper off the stove. So you can get your deli to cut that in a block. My deli cut it in slices. Well, that's fine. What I'm going to do is open it up. And ever how much cheese you uses, you just kind of watch and see how creamy it gets. Sometimes I'll get them to cut like a half a pound of American, a quarter pound of provolone, kind of whatever I'm feeling like. This is some strong provolone. And Ben's mine are in slices. I'm just gonna, as you can see, I'm taking the slices and I'm just ripping them and tearing them into pieces and putting them in my roux, as you would call it here. And as this heats up, you'll start seeing the cheese melt in it. Just gonna just blop it down in there. We like ours really cheesy, so you might want to do a half a pound and a half a pound of, I don't recommend doing more than 2 cheeses. You start losing some flavor. I just like 2 cheeses. So today is provolone and American. American cheese is really good for mac and cheese. It melts very nicely. Okay, let me stir this provolone in. Once this milk starts heating up and the heavy cream, it'll definitely start melting. That's right, Forrest. That's what my granny said. Never can have too much cheese. Let me turn this up a little bit. Now you have to watch your cheese mixture here. You do not want this to start scorching, okay? If you notice this milk is trying to stick, please just turn it down. You're trying to heat the milk up, but you're not trying to scorch it. So let me get out my yellow American cheese here. You can get white if you wanted it. They do taste a little different. I like the yellow and stuff like this. The white is a little more, what's the word I'm looking for? Not tardy, but stronger. Yeah, stronger than the yellow. Oh my gosh, Rob. You're probably thinking, when I was cutting my apples, you're probably getting bored because I was complaining about how it's boring to cut apples. That took for a while. You're probably like, what is she doing and putting in that bowl? Is that potatoes, apples? What is she doing? Hope y'all had a good lunch in whatever restaurant you were eating in. Hope it was something delicious. Okay. Yep. See the cheese? The provolone is starting to melt a little bit. Milk is starting, and the heavy cream are starting to heat up. Hot wings. Hot wings. That's not my thing. I like boneless wings, but they're not hot. I'm boring. I get honey barbecue. Cilantro likes hot wings. All right. There was only a little bit of cheese left in this package, so I was going to use it all. Okay, rough. It just stinks. I be in a stream before with no sound, and sometimes I'm clueless. Okay. I got pepper everywhere when I spilled that. Now we're gonna start letting this thicken up a little bit and melt. That should be enough of our cheese. Let me throw this away. Okay. Now I'll see after I got my cheese in how much mixture I have here. So I'm going to add a little bit more heavy whipping cream to this. Maybe a half a cup more, okay? And we're going to keep letting the cheese melt here. Hey, Retro, what's up? We had a request in Discord, Retro, for things you would make for Easter side dishes for your Easter dinner. And I'm just showing different ideas of things I grew up having as Easter side dishes. We currently have a hash brown casserole in the oven. We have in the South, cinnamon fried apples are a side dish at local meat and three restaurants, and Cracker Barrel has them. I grew up having those. We have those in the oven, and I'm currently making a sauce for mac and cheese. And we're working on some mac and cheese. And then after I do the mac and cheese, I'm going to move on to something different. So we're just working on a few little side dishes as ideas. Aw, you're so sweet, Ruff. All right, we're letting this thicken up, okay? Does your household like mac and cheese, Ruff? Believe it or not, I know some kids that don't like mac and cheese. My friend, that's all her kid would eat was mac and cheese. Like they'd go to a restaurant and that's all she would get would be mac and cheese for him. But I know some kids that hate mac and cheese too. Puff never liked it. Cilantro loved mac and cheese. I mean, I remember him being just like a little over a year when he started eating things off the menu in the restaurant or something. He liked mac and cheese. Okay, that's cool, Ruff. Yeah, I knew you did retro because I remember Barry saying something about a macaroni pie, and I had no idea what that was at one time. So I kind of, it's kind of been cool learning different things about cultures. Between him and Island Boy, I'm getting really, really, really getting my Trini education. Okay, now hash brown casserole just dinged, so I'm gonna pull it over here while this is while my cheese roux is working. I'm gonna pull this back to this table, and I'm gonna show you what we're gonna do with the hash brown casserole. Let me get it out of the oven here. Yes, rough. Do you know? My friend had two girls, and she didn't have boys. She had two girls. They were only a year apart, and she said they were pickier. And she has a little boy now, but she said they were so picky. She adopted a little boy, but she said her little boy will eat anything. But you know what? That's the way Puff was, though. He's picky. He was picky growing up. He's getting better now, but he wouldn't eat like normal stuff people ate. All right, put them. Okay, let me stir this for just a second. We're gonna swap over here. Yay, this cheese. This is starting to, when I stir it, I feel it. It's getting a little thicker. Again, it's 2% milk, heavy whipping cream, salt, a little bit, pepper, Mrs. Dash table blend. It has my cheese of choice today is provolone and American. Now, as this is starting to thicken up a little bit, I like to put a little bit of ground cayenne pepper in my mac and cheese. Just give it a little bit of a kick. Just sprinkle a little bit on there. I don't want a terrible lot. A lot of people I make this for, they don't like the heat, but that gives it a nice flavor. So let me turn this down and let that continue to thicken. Now let's come back over here uh, and let's focus on this hash brown casserole for a minute. Catering retro, making the money, making the money, making the money. Okay, I'm going to use what's left, but these are just organic cornflakes from uh, where does these come from? Publix. As you can see, my edges are kind of, you might be able to see browning up. The hash brown casserole is set up kind of nicely. So I only have about this much, sorry, cornflakes left. I'm going to use the rest of them, just what's left. So what you're going to do, you can put them in a zip bag and crumble them all at once, or you can get a heaping amount out and just take them in your hands and crumble them. Crumble them cornflakes and spread them on, okay? Spread it on. Yep, Ruff, I totally agree. Jeffro and I have that same discussion. And I remember saying that to Puff. I know he got tired of it, but Jeffro and I were like, when we grew up, you either ate what Mama fixed or you went to bed hungry. And I remember going to bed hungry because I was picky. I'll be the first one to say it, Ruff. There was a lot of stuff that came out of our garden and our crops that I did not like growing up. And you know what? I'd either find one thing she had that night that was good and I'd eat that one thing. And there were nights I ate nothing. Now, I do remember, like, Mama sometimes being, you can eat cereal. And I remember going in and eating Lucky Charms or Cap'n Crunch, and that's what I had for dinner because she wasn't going to make nothing else. And as I got older and started making dinner for her, that changed. The menu changed. But I definitely remember that rough. It wasn't like, I'll make this and I'll make you that. And I'm guilty of it. Hey, you know what? I've done it for my kids. I think part of it too was I kind of remember that not eating so much stuff that I felt bad because I always hated that. I got so tired of that line too from my grandma. Do you know how many kids in China are starving? You should really eat this. It's like, I don't care. Give it to them. I told her that one day. I got in trouble. I told her to box up my food and send it to them then if they're starving. Yeah, that didn't go over very well. Yes, I've heard it, Retro. My mom actually had this little board that was in her kitchen, Retro, and it had that little saying on it, if you can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen. Yes, Retro. I use breadcrumbs for my mac and cheese, but you can use cornflakes. Jeffro's not picky. He doesn't like asparagus. He didn't, anyways. And he never liked Brussels sprouts. And what was it? Because my mom used to pick on him. He would tell her, you know what? I'll eat about anything you make. I don't want asparagus, Brussels sprouts, or licorice, black licorice. Other than that, he was pretty much okay. Oh, and marshmallows, marshmallows. Other than that, he doesn't like marshmallows. Yes, I know. But other than that, he would pretty much eat anything my grandparents made or my mom. All right, I got my last little handful here. Okay, that is all of the cornflakes. I only use organic cornflakes. My personal preference, we do not use regular cereal in this house because of the chemicals in it. So, organic cornflakes you can get at Target has them, and so does Publix. Okay, so now I'm going to take this butter. Yeah, Jeffro is not picky about what he eats, not because of me, because he grew up with a mother that basically kind of cooked whatever, and she wasn't a great cook, and he has a stomach of steel. That is what my mom always said. Jeffro has a stomach of steel because if you had to eat his mother food, you would have had a stomach of steel also. So it was that or go hungry. Hear a big truck outside my window in here. Okay, I'm just cutting up a little pieces of butter and just putting them periodically on the hash brown casserole here. All right. Now, normally I put the cheese under the cornflakes, but today I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit on the top too. And then I'm going to put this back in the oven and let this heat up for just a second, okay? Sorry, I went and wiped my hands off. I had to look out my window because it sounded like a truck was actually coming through my kitchen window. And our new neighbors that moved in have a big trailer and they're trying to back into their driveway. So it's all good. And Jeffro, I was wrong. This poor guy's even worse off. I feel bad for him. He does not have a zero turn. He has a little orange regular riding mower from like Home Depot. It looks like a little like my dad's mower is, but it's like a Husqvarna. So I feel bad for him. He's going to try to mow that gigantic yard with it. Okay, I stuck this hash brown casserole back into the oven. Hey, Callie, happy Easter weekend, sweetheart. I hope my little man is doing well. The Easter bunny's going to be good to him. Yeah, we have ourselves some new neighbors, Retro, and the verdict is out. We don't know how they are. We hope they're better than the last ones. Okay, now. Too good to him? That's okay, Callie. The Easter bunny was always too good to me, too. Ooh, yeah. My cheese is thickening up. That's all right. We add a little bit more provolone to it. And then I'm gonna turn over here. We're gonna pour this onto our noodles. Okay. Now back over here. I already pre-cooked my noodles. Don't cook the fire out of them, okay? Don't cook them till they're falling apart. Then you've cooked them too long because you're going to put these in the oven. These are my Italian noodles spirals that I used instead of elbow noodles. That's what I like. So I'm going to take my sauce here. This is my cheese sauce. And like I said, please be careful. You don't want this sticking, which we did good. Okay, so now I'm just going to stir this up. Normally I stir this in the casserole dish, but because my noodles were already trying to stick together, I didn't want to do that. Now I'm going to sprinkle a handful of my Colby Jack. Stir that in. And now I'm going to take another handful. Okay. Now, I'm going to move this. And I hope I can fit all this in this dish. It's the only one I have left I'm not currently using. So, ugh, I'm going to splash this, y'all. I just know I am. Yep, splash happening. The splash is on. Normally I would do this in a little bit bigger dish, but I have my hash brown casserole in it. Now you're going to put this in the oven and this cheese sauce is going to thicken up, okay? Okay. Since this dish is a little bit too small, I'm going to get a cookie sheet and set it on a cookie sheet so we don't have it boiling over in my oven. My mom taught me this little trick because you don't want to be cleaning out your oven all the time, okay? Thanks, Callie. It is yummy. And like I told you, chat, never can have too much cheese either. Okay, so I'm going to take this and I'm going to set it on this cookie sheet. Okay. Now, we're going to let this cook for a little while. And we're going to check on it, and you're going to kind of want to stir it a little bit. And as you do that, um, toward the end, I'm going to add some shredded cheese to it, and you can add some breadcrumbs on the top of it. Exactly, Retro. Smoking ovens is not cool. Okay, so let me get this back here because we are going to get our hash brown casserole out. I'm going to swap over here. I'm going to show you guys in a minute. This is my small little ham I got. I'm going to show y'all what I'm going to do with that too. Now these cinnamon apples you want to push down into the water as they cook. Okay, let me get a spoon or something. I need to push my apples down a little bit. Like I said, the cinnamon apples take a while to cook. They really have to cook down. They probably won't finish while I'm streaming. Now, I have the cinnamon apples in here, and now I'm about to put the mac and cheese into the oven. Oh my God, this is so heavy. Ah! Whoo-wee. Nelly. Okay. Let me wipe this off. Hey, Brian. Thanks, Retro, for stopping by. All right, that's my hash brown casserole that just came out. The cornflakes are nice and crispy on the top. The shredded cheese, the butter just kind of give it a little crisp. Apples are still cooking in the oven. We just put our mac and cheese in. Uh, so those are some Easter side dishes. Now, the next thing is there's just four of us, so I didn't want a huge ham. So I just got a little Kentucky Legend ham, okay? And I just take a pan, put a little bit of foil in it, get a deep pan so you have some room if you want to put fluids in it, okay? That's fine, Brian. Yes, I'm doing this because of your request for Easter side dishes. So I'm just going to open up this ham. I just got a little one like this. It's Kentucky Legend and it's called Baked Honey and it's already pre-sliced. Just a small one for us. Okay, so I just take it out of this. And then what I do, since it's pre-cut, is I just like to pull it apart. And I kind of spread it out. Like this, okay? Now, that's half of the ham on there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some honey. This is some really good little honey here. Oh gosh, Kelly, I love ham. I love ham. I like it better than turkey, Kelly. Now I'm going to take this honey and we're going to drizzle it. I'm just drizzling it across this ham, okay? Some nice honey. I don't like store-bought honey. I like local honey, or there's a farmer's market nearby. That's where I got this honey, and it comes out of a certain part in Florida. So it tastes a little different. It's really good. Um, Now I have sprinkled that or drizzled it with honey. Now I'm going to take my brown sugar and we're going to just sprinkle some across this. Like so. So we have honey and brown sugar. Now I'm going to take the rest of the ham and I'll put it on top of this ham, okay? And the reason I don't put the whole thing in there in a pile is it doesn't get the flavor throughout the ham, okay? So if you just pile that thing in here, just completely set it in, which you can do. I just prefer not to because I like to let it crisp some and cook and get that flavor. Okay. Let's see. Let me get a paper towel. Now I'm going to take this honey again and drizzle. You can never have too much honey on this either, just so y'all know. Now I'm going to take some more brown sugar, sprinkle away. And then this is pre-cooked ham too. So it still tells you to cook so long though per pound. So I'll put this in my oven and I'll cook and this will start melting and making a glaze. You can see it do that when it starts cooking. And So basically, all I'll do the rest of the time, and I might flip it around with a fork as it's cooking. Let me go wash my hand off here. Okay, now I went and washed my hands. I have my ham sitting on top of the oven behind me. I can't put it in right yet because there's too much stuff in the oven. This is when I wish I was had a big old kitchen like Pioneer Lady or something has, and they have two ovens, one in the wall and your regular oven. I wish would be nice, right? Okay. So now, lastly, the last thing I'm going to make today is what we call in the South deviled eggs. I'm not sure if you guys have heard of that or not. It's in a lot of places, but I'm going to make deviled eggs and show you this is something popular that goes with your meal. Now, uh, my mom used to say she didn't want her eggs deviled, that she wanted um, heavenly eggs. So she used to say she was going to have heavenly eggs. So deviled eggs are really loved. Jeffro loved deviled eggs. Like I think he really got introduced to them when he come into our family because my grandma made deviled eggs, my mom made deviled eggs, and this went with Easter, Christmas, Thanksgiving, Sunday dinners. Deviled eggs were a must onto the table. Okay, and so I'm going to show you how we make deviled eggs here in the South. And we have a funny story actually with Jeffro and deviled eggs. My mom, I was dating Jeffro. We weren't married yet. And he really adored my mom and he didn't want to hurt her feelings. And one Sunday, and my mom was a prankster, okay? One Sunday for dinner, my mom made deviled eggs, okay? And the lid, like, an old school shaker of salt, she was putting the salt in the deviled eggs, and the lid came off. She didn't know it was loosened, and the salt poured into the deviled egg mixture. And she was like, oh crap. And she put it back on, and she took a spoon and tried to get as much of the salt off, but she couldn't get them all off. So she mixed it all up and she made the deviled eggs anyway. These deviled eggs were so salty that I felt like a cow that we had in our field that would lick the salt block. I can only imagine what that salt block tasted like when I ate one, just one, couldn't even finish one of my mother's deviled eggs, okay? I spit it out. Don't say anything because I'm like, well, I'm not going to say anything to mom right now, but I'm going to ask her later what the heck happened to her deviled eggs. And my dad makes this face because my dad doesn't like the white of the egg. My dad only eats the yellow out and he leaves behind the white shell or the white. So he digs out with the spoon and eats a little bit of the yellow and he spits it out. Jeff, by the way, hasn't noticed any of this and he has like five on his plate, okay? He eats one of the deviled eggs and he cringes. I can see him cringe, okay? And he doesn't say anything. And my mother, knowing they taste absolutely terrible, looks to him at the table and puts him on the spot and says, Jeff, how are my deviled eggs today? Are they good? How are you liking them? I know you love my deviled eggs. And Jeff, being the nice person he is, goes, "Oh, they're so good. I love them." And she lets him suffer through three of her deviled eggs, cringing because he has five on his plate and he doesn't want to leave them behind. And after the third egg, she bursts into laughter and she looks at him and says, "Jeff, spit the egg out. Don't eat the eggs. They're terrible. I know you're trying to be nice and eat these." And he had this sigh of relief on his face and he was like, "Well, I didn't want to be rude. I got them." She said, "They're terrible. The lid fell off the salt shaker into the batter of the deviled eggs." And she was like, "They taste awful." But I didn't have time to remake them, and I was going to see how many people actually ate my eggs anyway. And you're the only one that are eating my eggs. Spit the egg out. And he starts laughing then, and he was like, she said, "You weren't going to say anything to me." She was like, "If you're going to be in this family, if my egg tastes bad or my food tastes bad, you better tell me." And after that, we got a good kick out of it. It was just the funniest thing ever because you should have seen his face. He was cringing through. I'm talking so much salt, y'all, that your ears would ping back to your head because the lid literally fell off and the salt just free flowed into the mixture. So that's a funny story we have. Jeff and the egg. Okay, so what you need for deviled eggs, okay, is to boil eggs. First off, you boil how many ever eggs? One boiled egg you cut in half. So in all reality, it makes two eggs, okay? Two, because there's a half and a half. So if you have one egg, you count it as two. So you can count by twos and see how many you have. So I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. This will make 18 eggs, okay? So there's only 9 boiled eggs to make that, okay? So that's how you start off. He would have accidentally dropped a plate run. That's so funny. Yeah, Jeffro didn't do that. He really was a good sport, and I'm glad to hear you're feeling better, by the way. So this is a really cool gift I got because we always have deviled eggs as a staple item. My friend sold Pampered Chef at one time, and this is a devil egg holder. The lid comes off. This thing is so cool. And it has this thing right here you can put in the fridge. It comes out and you can refrigerate it and keep it cold. And it holds deviled eggs. And then you have a lid on it and you can keep it in your fridge and keep them all sealed up. Because one thing that'll stink your fridge up is a deviled egg. And you can take them to family gatherings or whatever. Also, this thing, just so you know how cool it is, you can flip this thing over and make a flat side. And I have it in the box, but it's a divider that goes on here, and in the center is a hole, and you put dip in it, and each section you can put your vegetables in it and put the lid on it and take it to a party also. But mainly I just use it for deviled eggs. I don't even think I've ever used it for the other one. So anyways, I'm going to swap that there. Oh my gosh, Callie, you're making me laugh. Callie, you're hilarious. Boiling eggs are so simple. You really only have to boil them 10 minutes once you get the water roaring. Now, here's a trick. Here's something I'm serious that people do and you make a mess up. Do not get your water boiling and then put the egg in there. You will cook the egg. It will bust instantly open. Even if it's at room temperature, it will bust open and it will cook the egg instantly. So you get your pot and put your eggs in it and cover them with water about halfway, um, and then turn it on. And so the eggs are in the room temperature water and they all rise to the same temperature at the same time, and it causes your egg not to cook inside, like scramble it, and it causes it not to instantly bust open because you can bust an egg open like that. So make sure you put your eggs in the pot first, cover them with water, turn your unit on high, and set the pot onto the unit. Okay. Once it starts roaring, boiling, I boil about 10 minutes. Now, another thing that is a trick is take salt and put salt in the water with your boiled eggs as you're boiling them. Put salt in there, like a tablespoon of salt. What that does, it doesn't make the eggs salty, but what that does is the shells come off the eggs easy. When you get them out and you crack the egg, when you crack your shell as they come out of the water, you can literally take your hands. I've already peeled these, or I would show you guys, and you can go like this and twist sometimes, or you can just take your thumb and pull back, and the shell and the skin, that's just like the little membrane, it can pulls off completely, and it just slides off almost sometimes in one piece. It's a trick my mom taught me a long time ago, and that's how I boil eggs. That's funny, Kelly. Hey, TS Dav, what's up? Yes, he said he's doing his little catering gig today. So he's a lurking, I think, now. So, Callie, maybe that'll help you with the eggs. If you ever have questions about boiling eggs, just ask me, okay? So I already pre-boiled these eggs, y'all. And what we're gonna do is all I'm gonna do is start cutting my eggs in half, okay? So here's my bowl here. Let's move some of this stuff around. I've had so much stuff on this table today doing all this. And you cut them long ways, okay? Not short ways. So you just cut them down the center long ways and you break them open like this. And then all you do is you push the yellow out into the bowl and it leaves you the shell and you just set them. I set them in my egg holder here. And you just do that with all of them. I think this thing actually, this egg holder here I have holds like 24 eggs. I didn't make that many, but I have filled this thing up plus some before for family events. Because I am the one that gets asked to bring these to every family event. I am the official deviled egg maker, they tell me. And why are they called deviled eggs? People ask me. I have no idea. I have no idea. I looked into it, and as my grandmother said, it's almost like the mixing of the yolk or the mixture that you stuff back in it. In the olden days, in the 1800s, they called that deviling or something. So that's the only thing I could come up with is what my grandma told me, and that's how they come up with deviled eggs. My grandma said she had heavenly eggs or holy eggs, that she left the devil out of her eggs. So there you go. So I'm just going to keep cutting these in half and putting these in here. Sometimes the mixture doesn't want to come out and I just kind of run my knife in there and try to get it out. Yeah, I don't put hot sauce in our eggs. Nope, nope. We never did that. Okay. Now, one thing I don't put in my eggs, but I have done, I've made a plain batch. What we call a plain batch is what I'm making today. You can also take relish, pickle relish, and squirt a little bit of pickles because some people like pickles in their deviled eggs, but a lot of people don't. So I usually make a batch of regular ones at events, and then I make a batch with pickle relish in it. And all you do is do the same recipe I'm doing, and you put about a tablespoon of pickle relish. Sweet pickle relish, sour pickle relish, hot pickle relish, whatever you want. And you mix it in it, and it has a little bit of pickle in it that way. Sometimes your eggs will rip or tear like this one when you cook them. I still use them. Okay, so now I have finished cutting up my eggs. So now all you do is you take a fork and you just simply push your eggs down and you're crumbling it up. Until you can kind of get most of the big pieces crumbled here. Okay. Now, I just take a little bit of salt. You do it to taste, okay? Sprinkle a little bit of salt. Then I take ground cayenne red pepper and give it a little bit of a kick. Sprinkle a little bit on here, okay? Then we take our mustard. And I drizzle it. We have more mustard than mayo on ours a lot of times. Then I'm going to take my Duke's mayonnaise because I like Duke's. And I do 1 blob, 2 blobs, and we're going to see where we get with this, okay? And we're going to mix this in. I'm just mixing it around. And see how it gets like creamy? We're going to put, I can tell I need just a little bit more cayenne. You can decorate your eggs up too. A lot of times I put my egg mixture in a piping bag with the decorator's tip, and I do decorative work and put them in if I'm going to take them to an event. Today I'm just going to spoon them in like we would any other Sunday or something like that. Then you are more than welcome to take paprika. It doesn't have flavoring, it's decorative, and sprinkle on the top. I've seen people do that. Uh, so, however fancy you want to make these, you can. Add a little mustard. That is all my mustard. It's going in. And it needs a little bit more mayonnaise. Okay. Now, I'm going to keep my spoon here. Means I'm at the end because I'm going to use it to fill them with. Okay. Hey, cilantro. Now, I have mayonnaise everywhere. Okay. Just making sure this is all incorporated. And once you fill these, keep them refrigerated until the time to eat. You do not want a bad egg. I'm not kidding. It will make you sick at your stomach. Okay. Now we have our shells over here. And all you do is you pick it up and you put a little bit in. Looks like that. And you just fill these back up. Like I said, I've used a piping bag before, but I'm not going to today. And just so you know, a lot of times you have filling left. Because once you mix this up and you start stuffing it back into the egg, a lot of times you have filling left. That's okay. I eat it with a spoon. Sometimes I'll fill them extra full too, just to use some of it up. I'm getting it all over me. I like these cold too, so I'll make them ahead of time and set them in the fridge for a while, overnight usually. Now, I'm not making any desserts today, but on Easter, you can make any of the desserts. We've had several of the things I've already made in stream, like the cake mix cookies I made last week, um, pies like the key lime pie I made. Um, we've actually cooked that at Easter. I've made a carrot cake and a coconut cake for Easter before. The apples are smelling good. I filled that one up good. Puff like smoked paprika. So that's good on these too if you want to sprinkle some smoked paprika. I don't care for it, well, really. I bought it and used it in my beef jerky, but there you go. Now we have our deviled eggs. Then I just put my lid on them and I'll stick these in the fridge, okay? Then you have, see, I have about that much left right here, down here. Sometimes you just have some left. Now, I always make rolls or something to go with the meal because we have ham. Sometimes I've made homemade yeast rolls. I've made things for scratch, but for just simplicity and ease of use, just to show you guys how easy this can be, these right here are really good. It's Sister Schubert's, I think is how my mom said it. It's just house yeast rolls. You can get them in the frozen section. I think your grocery might have them. I think they're a local thing. You keep them in the freezer, but these are thawed out. It tells you on the back you can thaw them and then put them in the oven on 350 for 15 to 20 minutes and have your yeast rolls. I just do these a lot of times. Yeah, that's why I don't like it, cilantro. You know, I don't like that smoky flavor. But these are just easy, okay? These are really easy to use. I mean, make. So this is what I'll put in the oven in a minute. I will make those up. Now let's see here. My mac and cheese is definitely bubbling over here. Okay, let me get something out of my pantry I forgot. I'm so glad that I did put a cookie sheet in those because when I went to stir it, I did spill a little bit on the other side. You can't see it, but I'm glad I did. And I just took a bite of my filling left from my deviled egg, y'all, and I just got a piece of cayenne pepper stuck in my throat, and I was like over there hacking. Okay, so now I stirred this up a little bit. I don't want to run into my oven. I have it open here. But you kind of just have to barely toss a little bit. This is definitely fuller than normal because it's the only dish I had left. I do like that it has tall walls though because it did fit everything in here. Okay, now what I'm going to do is you take some of your shredded cheese, sprinkle it on top here. Cilantro, I should have got another block of cheese yesterday. And then I take Italian breadcrumbs and sprinkle it on top. It gives it a nice flavor, a nice crunch. Now this stick of butter I have over here, I'm going to cut some of it up and we're going to put it on top. Because we don't want the breadcrumbs just to get too burnt. And I use the whole stick of butter, y'all. All right, let me wash my hand off. Very true, cilantro, because mac and cheese is a lot of work and buying lots of cheese can get expensive. Okay, so now I'm going to set this back on the oven. This thing is so heavy, and like I said, cilantro usually gets this in and out for me. I'm not kidding, it's so heavy. Okay, I got it back in. Now I'm going to set my ham in the oven on the bottom rack. And my apples will not be done during the stream, but I'm going to take a picture of them once they're done because I want y'all to see what they look like completed. Because they cook down a lot and they have a good texture. So, anyways, guys, so that is melting on the mac and cheese. We have our deviled eggs. Uh, which I want to go on and put in the fridge if you guys will give me a second. Yes, fried apples are my favorite rough. Um, so let's see. Then I'll stick my bread in just a minute. Them apples are going to be a while. And the ham is too. Yes, they are cilantro. What I'm making is also called fried apples. Yes, that's actually what Big Nanny called them, fried cinnamon apples. That is exactly what they are. That is, and I'm not sure why they are called fried because we're not frying them. She would call them fried cinnamon apples, or she would call them baked cinnamon apples because they really are baked. Because there's a meat and three that we used to go to, cilantro, and they said fried cinnamon apples. I don't know why they're fried. They're really not fried, but they're baked cinnamon apples is what I call them because that's what you're doing. You're baking them. So, but anyways, guys, I think that's it, and I'm gonna end stream because everything's in the oven finishing up. The top is gonna cook on the mac and cheese now. The apples are gonna be a while, another hour probably, and the ham is cooking in the oven. We have our deviled eggs in the fridge now. This is our completed hash brown casserole back here. And then I showed y'all about the yeast rolls over here that I'll be putting in the oven at the very last minute. I'll be putting those in the oven and cooking them. They don't take, but like I said, 20 minutes, I think, at 350. So there you go. That's kind of our Easter dinner. Ham, hash brown casserole, mac and cheese, fried apples, deviled eggs, yeast rolls. A lot of times we have a bean. I didn't make a bean, but like the lima beans I made last week, we'll have those a lot of times, a lima bean, or we'll have a crock pot of pintos. So that's kind of our Sunday dinner. Or Easter dinner. It's things we had on Sundays too after church when we'd go to my grandma's house. But that's it, guys. That is it. Like I said, dessert suggestions for Easter is key lime pie, coconut cream pie, coconut cake, carrot cake. Cookies are always good with the kids for Easter. Chocolate chip cookies, ginger snaps, oatmeal raisin cookies, peanut butter cookies, that kind of thing. So, anyways, guys, this is a wrap. We're gonna have some neat things coming up. I'm gonna in the coming weeks, I'm going to show you how to make your own beef jerky if you have a dehydrator. So, if any of you in chat have a dehydrator and have wondered ideas of how to make things, I'm going to show you how to make teriyaki beef jerky in the weeks to come. I also bought a brand new ice cream making machine that is electric. You put rock salt and ice in it, and you make your ice cream. We're gonna make some homemade ice cream on stream, and I'm gonna show you how to store that along with some other neat things. So I hope you guys don't miss out on any of that. So, anyways, guys, I really hope you guys have a blessed weekend. Um, I hope you enjoy your family for Easter. And I hope you just enjoy that family time together and get out of the kitchen, Jeffro. But, anyways, guys, please have a great weekend. Please stay blessed, love on your family, because we never know when could be our last with them. And just have a great weekend, guys. I really, really hope you all have a great weekend. Take care. And until we see you on Monday, please, please, please make tomorrow a great one. Bye bye.